When people hear about the Troubles, they often picture a conventional war, two sovereign nations locked in combat across a fortified border. But this image from 1969 reveals a very different reality. The conflict actually ignited as an internal struggle when Northern Irish authorities harshly cracked down on a growing Catholic civil rights movement. Look closely at these soldiers deployed against the backdrop of a burning building. The violence rapidly spiraled into fierce intercommunal riots, forcing the British military onto the streets of Northern Ireland to maintain order. Just a few miles to the south, the Republic of Ireland watched this unfold. They were a fully independent nation that had broken free from British rule decades earlier, and their own constitution explicitly claimed the entire island, which raises a vital historical question. As violence erupted right across their border, why did the Republic's army refuse to march north, fight the British, and unite Ireland once and for all? To understand the Republic's hesitation, we have to look at Bis Room. In 1921, these men sat down to sign the Anglo-Irish Treaty. The treaty partitioned the island, keeping the 6 northern counties in the United Kingdom and triggering a bitter civil war. The pro-treaty faction formed the official government and national army of the independent republic. The militant anti-treaty faction went underground, morphing into the modern IRA. See the men aiming rifles in this photograph? These rebels turned their weapons inward, waging a vicious guerrilla campaign against their newly formed Irish government. So by the time the Troubles kicked off in 1969, the Republic of Ireland was looking at an impossible alliance. They were never going to send their official army north to fight alongside a paramilitary group that had spent decades trying to violently overthrow them. There was also a massive demographic roadblock on the ground. The majority of the population in Northern Ireland were Protestant Unionists who wanted absolutely nothing to do with joining the Republic. If the Republic's military crossed the border, they'd face an immediate loyalist insurgency, turning Irish soldiers into an occupying force against a hostile majority. Knowing this, the government in Dublin chose strict containment. They officially banned IRA affiliates from state television and radio, distanced themselves from the violence, and insisted on a democratic resolution. Even so, the Provisional IRA exploited the geography. As seen in this photo of a rural checkpoint, the long border was porous. Republican operatives used it as a tactical shield, sneaking south to establish safe houses and import explosives out of reach of British troops. To keep this southern sanctuary safe, the IRA leadership issued a strict mandate. Volunteers were forbidden from attacking the Republic's police or armed forces. But that fragile arrangement collapsed in 1979, when the conflict bled directly over the border. The IRA detonated a bomb on a yacht off the coast, assassinating this man, British royal family member Lord Mountbatten, while inside the Republic's territory. That single attack severed whatever lingering sympathy remained for the militants in the South. The Irish public and the leading political parties universally condemned the action, cementing the Republic's total rejection of paramilitary violence. It took nearly 30 years of bloodshed for all factions to accept what the Republic's leadership had realized in 1969. You cannot bomb a population into a united Ireland against the will of its majority. In 1998, the fighting officially ended with this document. The Belfast Agreement brought the United Kingdom, the Republic of Ireland, and the paramilitaries to the negotiating table. This flowchart illustrates the agreement's key mechanism. It guarantees Northern Ireland the right to hold a legally binding referendum to join the Republic, but only when a clear democratic majority demands it. Today, that mechanism is more relevant than ever, because for the first time in the region's history, census data shows Catholics demographically outnumber Protestants in Northern Ireland, and this photograph represents the political reality of that shift. We are now looking at Northern Ireland's first ever Catholic First Minister. The Republic of Ireland made an agonizing decision to stay out of a raging war in 1969. Through strict containment and calculated long-term strategy, they created a democratic framework that has pushed the island closer to unification today than decades of violence ever achieved.